What's going on, guys? I'm Rahil from the SPA podcast team, which stands for Students in Palo Alto. And today we're going to be discussing whether or not students should be turning on their cameras in live online calls. So, without further ado, Ingrid Lee, take it away.
Hey guys. So yeah, I definitely agree that this is a very controversial topic. Like for the past school year, lots of students actually didn't show their cameras. And it was really hard because I taught a class last week as a graphic design teacher, and the first class I taught, the students didn't have their cameras on at all. So I kind of felt like I was talking to a wall. I don't know if you guys have experienced this, but it's not a very good feeling. And so I definitely think that when they're comfortable, students should start to gradually share their screen because it also allows them to connect with other people. Yeah, those are my thoughts.
Yeah, welcome to my world. So yeah, I'm Miss Lee right here, and as a teacher, I can tell you guys, like you said, Ingrid, right before, it sounds like or it just seems like you're talking to the wall,
Yeah.
and it's sad. And if you guys don't mind me saying some comments and expressing myself as a teacher, um, it's makes our day whenever we see the students' faces, right? Like we're going through it with you guys. Um, and I know it's hard for students, but like what is the main reason? What is the main reason that makes students not want to share the cameras, I guess? I don't know.
I feel like the biggest reason is probably not wanting to see yourself. They're afraid of being able to see yourself on the screen.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I thought. And then another reason is probably because they don't feel that their environment is, safe enough for like being shared. Like they don't want, like if their parents are arguing in the background, they don't want to show that.
I mean, I've seen distractions for sure. Like, I think I've seen students where their siblings would come out of nowhere and they would just be like, "Hey," and just start interrupting. So I
Mm-hmm.
guess that is one good point. Yeah. And I mean, you guys seen my dogs come, to the Zoom call sometimes. My husband's in the background. So I guess I understand where you guys coming from. And I'm trying really hard to disregard it, but maybe it is because as an adult, I'm able to just kind of be like, you know what, whatever, let it go. So if the teachers from the beginning establish saying, it's okay, I have distractions in the background, so will you. Don't worry about it. Let's all go through this together. So please, I would appreciate it if you can show your camera. Would you guys feel better, I guess?
I think it still takes like some warming up to like the idea. It's a little daunting too, since like, we're starting a new school year. We don't really know like a lot of people in our classes. And I
Right.
definitely feel like I feel like showing your camera, it's something that really exposes you because your home life. Not many people have actually seen your home life. It's something that's very personal, very private. And just sharing that with people, it can feel like overwhelming. And then, like Rahil said earlier, showing your face, it's really scary. And then like, you never know what other people are talking about. And, if they start judging you, if anything is documented, it's very scary because you don't know where that media is going.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I guess like as what I mean, I don't think most Zoom calls are recorded. So with is it still that maybe that some teachers are recording the Zoom calls that makes it scary, or just in general, just you know.
I think just in general, like over the summer, I took summer school here, and actually a lot of the lessons were recorded, but I never knew where the media was going. Like I don't know where the teacher put it. So it was a little scary, like having to show your face, and like sometimes she would call you out and be like, "Hey, please turn on your camera," and that's all being recorded, and it's
Mhm.
scary because not only is being called out in front of a bunch of people scary, it's you don't know where it's going. You don't know what they are gonna do with it.
Mhm. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't think the teacher should. So, did the teacher not explain at all, like, where
No,
it's.
not at all.
and she didn't tell you guys, hey class, this is going to be recorded because we have a student, like for example, I think I only had to do it once because the student was unable to make it to one of the broadcast meetings. Or actually, no, I did it twice, right, for broadcast, and it's
Mhm.
because the student like kind of asked for it to be recorded, and it was only up on Schoology. But then I realized, like you guys mentioned, even on Schoology, I did not know that kids can actually download the videos, right? Have you
Yeah,
guys?
you can download videos. If like anything that's posted on Schoology, I think can be downloaded.
And for those that are listening, and Schoology is a platform where I guess for Palo Alto District, we are using it to make sure we can upload assignments, lectures, and anything pretty much to communicate with the students. So yeah, that's what Schoology is. And I think the fact that they have the option to download the videos, I don't think that should have happened when it was videos. I think like Google Slides, the presentations, the assignments, or I guess PDF files, that's okay. But I don't know if there's any technology yet where it can differentiate like, hey, it could only download PDF, not MP4 files, which is weird. You're
Another
right.
thing is students may not have access to both cameras, like inside of
hmm
their computers, and mics. So even then, they're not going to be able to talk. They're not going to be able to communicate. And then the teacher is going to be worried. They're not paying attention, or they
Right.
don't know if they're paying attention. So I think the biggest thing is if they don't have these essential things for video calling, which is one, camera systems, two, microphones, and three, maybe even a computer,
hmm
you need those things to even like attend a Zoom meeting.
Right.
So I feel like, because like with the lack of that, they're not going to have that, and then a teacher could get mad because they're not communicating, so the teacher wouldn't know either.
That's a really good point that you're pointing out. And have you guys personally got in trouble for not showing your camera or like not really not being really responsive, I guess, during a Zoom call?
No, like I feel like during Zoom calls, for the past ones that I've had during the school year, it's been very heavy lecture based. So we didn't really need to interact with the teacher a lot. And, a lot of my teachers, they were really nice and they were like, oh, you guys don't have to show your camera if you're not comfortable. But they
Mhm.
were like, I'm gonna show my camera just so that you guys can see me. And then it kind of felt like respectful that you had to show yourself back. So I think that's also kind of a point when students are getting comfortable showing.
For the new school year, right? This time it's a little bit scary, as you guys say, because it's all new, right? Like we all don't know each other. This is the first time you're going to meet your teachers and your peers in the class, right? And usually you kind of meet each other face to face. So I think in the beginning of this year and back in March when this whole quarantine shelter in place happened, we at least saw each other for a couple of months, right? Or like 2 months, I guess. And then, we were under the whole lockdown. And, but then we at least saw face to face and then got to know each other to feel somewhat comfortable showing each other's face through Zoom call or, for any schools out there, just video calling. But then this time, it's like we're all starting fresh, not seeing each other really face to face, or anything. And do you guys already know your school schedules by chance?
I
No,
do not know.
You do not?
yeah,
Okay.
school schedules will come out for us on Sunday, so tomorrow.
Sunday. Okay. Oh, yay. Are you guys excited to at least know your school schedules? And
Yeah, I guess.
I kind of know what it is because the student like sent out a code to everybody, like most people. So the people who had a code, we were able to kind of like code Infinite Campus to see our schedule.
what? How'd you guys
Yeah.
find that out?
Well,
Tell us the deets.
just like coding. They teach us coding at school. Like I guess
Right.
it's just put it to use.
So like kids just kind of like students just figured it out, right? Just like
Yeah,
on
like a
their
lot of
own.
students just like figured it out, and then now we're just like, oh, these are our schedules. And so I think like, the surprise is getting taken away a little bit, but it's still like surprising at the same time.
Got it. Got it. Well, okay. So schedule is one thing, and then the next thing is like friends, right? Like, um, you might not be in the class with the people you already know. So how are you guys feeling about meeting new people, going back to the connection of this whole Zoom call, I guess?
I feel fine. I don't really know what's about to happen, so I can't make any judgments. But yeah, I'm pretty excited for the new school year. And I hope I make new friends. If not, not being able to keep my old friends. Like if my old friends get into other classes, then I need to find a way to make new friends.
Yeah.
I think it's up to the teachers, right? In this case, that this is me also saying as a teacher, where I feel like it is our responsibility to, as you guys also mentioned earlier, to really set the tone up for the new school year in the Zoom call. So what I've been planning is doing a lot of like group like breakout room activities and having the students get into different breakout rooms with different students that they don't really know and do all these like online Zoom games, these silly Zoom games that I came up with. Uh, one thing I created was the escape room. So I'm looking forward to watching the students' reaction, watching them be really intense with that. Uh, but yeah, would that be helpful to you guys?
To be honest, I would say like the best part about like online school is for teachers to be less like strict. Yeah. So I would say like being less strict, strict as in like yes, of course you have to be like allow like not allow for people to, goof off, do bad things, but at the same time don't assign like over assign work that you would do when the school year is like normal, quote unquote normal. So I would say like yeah, I'm looking forward to a good year for like not for at least for hopefully just for a half year of just like being able to not necessarily like play games all half year, but I would say like at least learn new things while at the same time having fun and
Fun.
actually learning it.
It's like
You
a
don't want to
balance.
have to like have like you don't want to have to not being able to learn it because you're not like you're stressed out. That's one of the biggest issues and one of the biggest things I find scary about high school is not being able to learn something because you're stressed out. I really want to be able to learn something as opposed to being stressed out and as a result not learning it.
That's great. I think if teachers hear this, like this would be um, a major feedback for them, so that they understand. Like, let's this, like you said, we're all like going through this, right? So we shouldn't stress each other out. And I agree with you. There should be some kind of a balance of uh, too much fun games versus and then too much work, right? So there should
Mm-hmm.
be some kind of equal balance of making sure, yeah, let's have fun while we do this, but then let's not overwhelm the students with so much work because I don't know if you guys are feeling this like I am, but as I've been home for the past couple of months, man, it feels crazy, right? But at the same time, it's also like the days are just going by. That's how I'm
Mm-hmm.
feeling. It just goes by so quick where I still feel like we were just in the beginning of the lockdown phase not too long ago and it's already August. It's
Yeah,
just
that's what happens when you're not stressed out. I hope that's I hope that's gonna happen this year.
okay, that's a good one. That's what happens when you're not stressed out, having fun, taking it easy, huh?
Hmm.
Yeah. So, Ingrid, you were in high school. for the past couple of years, and now you're becoming into a junior year. So you can see the difference between when you were in school in person versus the online learning, right? So what are the major differences, or like what's the pros and cons for you from experiencing all this? So it might help out Rahil or any
Yeah,
younger generation. Yeah.
I definitely think that I feel like having the person-to-person contact, it does help students learn better. It just, I think that might be just me, but you know, when this whole lockdown started and we had to move everything online, you know, the teachers were also still trying to figure everything out. So we were still kind of in a testing phase. I definitely think that the teachers this year were really understanding that, you know, everyone's going through the same thing. You know, it's very stressful. None of us have really gone through something like this. And, you know, like Rahel said, teachers like definitely last year, they didn't really overwhelm us with work because, you know, online learning is really hard. Like I give kudos to people who, you know, do online learning because like I found it really hard just to like learn in front of a computer, like being able just having to sit down for at least like 9 hours every single day just doing work, talking over Zoom. It's really stressful for students. And you know, sometimes students aren't even able to complete work because they just can't sit in front of a computer. And so I definitely think that, you know, if teachers can at least get on a basis level with the students and like learn like where their strengths and weaknesses are,
Mhm.
it would definitely be very beneficial because, you know, students can start turning in more assignments, you know, but definitely making sure not to overwhelm students with too much work is also like, we're not like, I feel like some students, like, yes, they are just sometimes going out or, you know, they're not doing their work, but there are a majority of students who are getting the work done. They're not just like lounging around with nothing better to do.
Mhm. That's a good key point right there too, that the majority of the students are at least doing their best, right? So what would be an advice, right? Think about it this way too. So I think teachers, when they still have that one or two student, right? That one or two student who aren't focused, let's just say, or not turning in their work, what would you recommend for the teachers to do for those students? Like,
I definitely think that a connection needs to be made. Like there needs to be a lot of communication. It can't be just like a one end, like only one side is working and like the other one's just like following. It's like
mhm,
they need to meet on a common ground in the middle. And so students who don't turn in their work, like I don't really know any students who don't really turn in their work, but um there's always a reason why students don't turn in their work. It could be because they're struggling. It could be just because they don't understand the content. They're not motivated to do it. You know, there's always going to be a reason why students don't turn in work. And the teachers, they need to sometimes take responsibility, be the bigger person because they are older and figure out what the problem is. Like, you know, we're teenagers. We're still trying to figure out how life works. We're not really still really strong with our emotions. You know, our brains are still developing. Um, like we don't know how to communicate these thoughts, and so having like someone there just willing to help us, I definitely think will really help those students who really need it.
that's good. That's really powerful that you said all of that because you guys are still students, like you said. You could say it. You could just be like, I'm still a kid and I'm still trying to learn how to handle, take in everything. I totally agree with you. Where, mind you, yes, majority of teachers too, right? They are always doing their best to really figure out what's going on in the students' lives. I feel like, and I think the strong message to the teachers is this is not the time for us to just let things go, right? This is the time to think about, like, what is the student really going through and what can we do? Like, this is not the time to really ignore any student at the moment. And sure, it might be a little bit more work, I would say, right? And this is another conversation probably for the teachers with the whole administration where there's so many meetings and all that too, mind you. But I think it's important and crucial, like you said, that we try to understand uh, what's going on, right? Like just sit back and take the time to do that. And yes, I think I worked with a good group of teachers where there were students that just did not do their work at all, and we did at actually meet like 8 p.m. at night because some reason one of our student was in China. Like, they all, I don't know what the reason behind that was, but all of a sudden their entire family decided to go directly to China, I guess, during the whole quarantine. And so we did meet up around 8 p.m. to like hear him out and just think about like hey, what's going on? Like, are you okay? So that was happening, and but like that as an example and everything like you said, Ingrid, I think is what teachers need to do more. Not only so focused about like, wow, how can we make our lessons super interactive? I guess that's what all the teachers are worried about right now. Like,
Yeah.
will our lessons be interactive? How are we going to really teach this material when we're not face to face? For example, I guess like as an electives teacher, most of us have to teach things like hands on, So, but then elective teachers are very creative. I do see them coming up with their backup plans in some creative way. But I'm pretty sure after all of this, right, you guys probably would never do online classes in college and do more. Yeah. You guys are like, yep, no, not doing online. Although there might be some courses where you might be like, yeah, you know what, I'll do this one. But for the most part, online universities, would you guys do it? I don't know. Like, maybe, right? Maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think that, online learning, I used to think online learning was going to be so much fun because I'm like at home. Like, I think during
Yeah.
like the majority of my school life, I've always wanted to stay at home just because I'm out so much at school. But now that I'm at home so much, it's like, I'm just so sick and tired of it. Like, I want to go out, I want to go places. And so it really makes you start to be thankful for all these opportunities you had.
That's a good point, also. We should always be thankful for just everything, right? But now, what I'm kind of worried about is like, you know, students are definitely, like you said, Ingrid, everyone's becoming very thankful at these times, being like, yeah, I'm so thankful when I see my teachers and my friends at school. But mind you, I feel like once like we're back to normal and we see each other face to face, maybe within a month you're like, yeah, I'm sick and tired.
Yeah, there's just no balance.
Yeah. So I think though this has been there is no record, right, of this at like any of our history, but like this is a record where we are doing, stay at home and just online learning and stuff like that. So hopefully your generation is able to be like, you know what, kids, like to your own children later on and really be like, yeah, be thankful for everything that you have. You don't want to be at home, trust me. Yeah, so I don't know. My question also, I'm so curious about how you guys think all the time, right? About what students think about in the, I guess, society for anything. And if you guys were to come up with a Zoom rule, like just rules, like classroom rules, what are some of the rules that you guys want to make sure that the teacher enforces for the during the Zoom call, like class times?
Make sure every single person understands the concept.
Yes.
100%. Like literally, like once you're done with the class,
Mhm.
literally ask every single person one by one. Maybe okay, that's gonna be too much, but like maybe after that, the end of the class, maybe you just like write them an email, like like message them. Did you learn everything? Because I want to make sure that you're learning because this is harder than class time where I can draw it out on a whiteboard. I can't do that now, so I have to make sure that you learn it.
So
So
then I guess my question for that would be, would you guys appreciate it if teachers were to after every class session, right, we send you guys like, let's say, a Google form asking if you guys understood, and then we say that it's a requirement for you guys to fill it out so that we can see where you're at.
Yeah, I definitely think that
mhm.
would be a huge help because, teachers, like when they're teaching on Zoom, like I experienced this during my class when I had to present, and you don't get to see all the students' faces, especially if you have a big class.
Hmm.
It's really hard to like have once again have that social interaction with students.
Right.
And sometimes students are just like they're too shy to ask questions, or they don't want to appear like they don't know in front of other students. And so definitely having like this Google form to know like at least where you are, and like you can ask for help privately. It's just like I really need help, like help me out. I
Hmm.
definitely think that it will be super helpful to students.
I don't
Yeah.
know if students are willing to put the time and effort. Some students don't care if they learn it or not because, it's online. It's so much easier. You can just like look up the questions if you're taking a test. That's so easy to do now with online. So
Right.
I feel like it's much harder to like have the discipline to like want to be able to learn. So I don't know if people like students who are less interested in learning are gonna like waste their time doing that.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I totally agree. It really shows like how schools are split. It shows that there is a population that really do want to learn. However, there's also the population that doesn't, and they start ruining that for those who do want to learn. So I really think
Mhm.
that, students really need to figure out their values. I mean, like, we're going through a tough time and you have nothing better to do. You might as well just learn. Like, the knowledge is going to help you later down the road.
Right, right. And let's hope this is, as you are saying all of that too, like I think you guys are doing a great job for seriously mentioning all of that, even regarding for other students to go through kind of like a wake up call, right? And I'm hoping that over the summer, maybe they did nothing, that school is going to be very exciting. And they're like, oh my gosh, I will, yes, I will do work, I will learn, I will do whatever it takes, kind of thing. So hopefully they're able to kind of maybe be excited for the new school year, I guess. Yeah. But any other, like, so it sounds like you guys are giving me some Zoom regulations or Zoom class session rules for teachers. But what are some of the rules that you guys would love to make sure that the teachers enforce for the class, I guess?
I think also another one of the bigger problems that happened during Zoom was this didn't happen to me, but I heard this happen to a friend's class, was that this person, this student, like the use of virtual backgrounds is really powering, even though it may not seem like much, because for virtual backgrounds, you can take a picture of yourself, put it up on the screen, and make it look like you're listening. And
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
it's really important that teachers like really make sure they're present, because if there's just a virtual background there, the student might not even be learning. Like they could be in bed right now. Like they may not want to learn. So it's definitely very crucial that students start understanding that being present doesn't only benefit yourself, but also benefits the teacher to at least know that you're okay and you're learning and you're like mentally okay.
Okay. I like that. You just gave me an idea where sure, if you're not comfortable sharing your video in front of the class, then maybe at least have a picture of yourself, and then of course I would require for their names to be on their, thing instead of like some weird nickname going on. For attendance, it would be really helpful too. But yeah, that's a good idea. Like I don't like it, I have to be honest with you guys, as a teacher, where students share all these like gifts kind of thing, like these moving backgrounds, and it's just so distracting for other students, in my opinion. Or is it not for you guys, maybe?
I've never seen that happen.
Oh, okay. Maybe it's just maybe it's just some things that I've seen, but like I've seen students definitely put gifts, and they just have all these crazy backgrounds, and it keeps changing. Like it's all these like memes also where they're just constantly changing. And I'm like, you know what? Can you not do that? It's so distracting, and they would stop. But I think that's one of the rules I have to put up. But that's a good idea. Maybe instead, like, just so I know you're here and I feel like I'm not talking to the wall, maybe put your picture up at least. And I
But
don't
then at
know.
the same time, you never know if they're there. Like they could just put the photo up and they could leave.
That's true too. Oh, but
They
that's
know
the
they're
thing.
present.
I really want my students to be interactive in a way where they're participating constantly. So I know, Ingrid, also you mentioned about how sometimes during the Zoom calls, it seems like there's a lot of lectures going on.
Yeah.
And in this case, I think my lectures are changing more definitely into where it's like I speak for like maybe 2 minutes and then I want them to give their input type of thing. And maybe Rahil, like you said, this might help to make sure that students are understanding the entire
Mm-hmm.
concept that they're supposed to learn. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, just to make sure, right, Ingrid, like, because you're right, everyone should be worried about are they away from their computer screen or are they in front of their computer screen? So, yeah. Yeah. Any other roles you guys would say that we need to put down on the students, I guess?
I think for students, just be very attentive, like act as if you're like we want to bring a sense of normalcy back to schools. So I definitely think that at least being present, like yes, it will take time to show your face, but at least just like being active, like even if your camera's off, talking a lot, responding to like questions, asking questions. Will be very helpful to try and get that vibe that we're still in school. Like yes, we may be apart, but we're still learning. Like this is normal.
Right, right. Oh, and I have a question now for both of you. When I ask a question to the students, right, sometimes it looks like I know that students know the answer, right? But then sometimes it looks like they're very hesitant to unmute their mics and respond. So then in that case, I usually say put it down in the chat, I guess. But is there a reason why sometimes students like they know the answer, but they're like unsure or like hesitant to unmute their mics? And I could see like Ingrid, you're kind of smiling slightly. Or
Yeah, this happened to me a lot because like teachers asked a lot of questions and I think I knew the answer and it turned out to be right in the end, but I never said the answer. And this happened even when we were still in school. And I think the main reason why, I don't know, like this is what other people feel, but for me, like I just didn't want to look like if I got the wrong answer, I didn't
Mhm.
want people to think that I wasn't smart. And so
Okay.
I think it's like the judgment thing and like the peer pressure knowing that, every single thing you do even now that it's online, it's you feel very judged. But I
Mhm.
think one of the biggest takeaways that I also learned, like I also learned this from a parent like that I talked to a lot, and she told me it's not about them, it's always about you. And what you can do to fix it is make yourself realize that they're probably also worried the same things that you are. They're just better at
Mhm.
hiding it. So she always told me focus on yourself. If you want to learn, you got to speak up.
That's good. That's good.
That's one thing I'm still wondering, wouldn't that be the same if they're putting it in the chat?
Oh, like as in like participating or?
Yeah, or like not knowing the answer, wouldn't that be the same? Like how
Oh,
come
oh,
what changes that when you're putting it in the chat?
good question. That's a very good question. So then I think we can um, maybe it's definitely the teacher's position to set the tone, right? And let the students know like I think that's what I usually like to do in my classes. Like all my classes, I usually always say there is no right or wrong, even though yes, there is, okay. I know yes there is sometimes, but when it comes down to like me asking them a question in a sense where it's like hey, I want you to just guess, right? That's usually my way of asking the questions to the students. So I want them to just give it a shot, um, answering it, take a guess at it. So that I think that's my method of telling them like just guess so that they don't feel like, oh, am I going to be right or am I going to be wrong? So if a teacher says, hey, there is no real like correct answer or the perfect answer, don't worry about being right or wrong. This is not it. I'm asking you to like take a shot at it, take a guess, right? Like, how would you guys feel, I guess?
With that, I feel like that would have given me like either way, I think I could respond. It depends on what the question is. But like I feel like for other students that gives them a sense of a little bit more confidence to answer the question. So that really does help, even though there is could be a really right answer. Like for sometimes like I get it a lot when when teachers are saying, there's no right answer, and then you guess and they're like, not quite. But then what's the point of guessing if there's no right answer? So that's what they kind of feel like. I've witnessed that a lot.
Uh-huh.
Like there's no right answer and then they're saying not quite or incorrect.
Uh-huh.
So yeah.
I think
I
it sort of make. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
oh no, you go ahead, go ahead.
I definitely think that, you know, for teachers, I think the response is also what helps students build their confidence. Like, you know, instead of saying like making the response so negative, like not quite or no, that's incorrect. You can
Right.
instead say, yes, that is a good method of thinking of that, or just turning it positive and helping and guide them in the next direction. It's like
Right.
you may have to do like a ginormous U-turn and be like, yeah, that's not right at all, but you can at least try and point them and say, I like what you're thinking.
Mm-hmm.
How can you apply that to maybe this situation? And then this will help them gain their confidence and be like, okay, they could recognize that they thought about this wrong, but then they're like, at least I know now that I made a mistake and now I can learn from it.
Right, right. I think that's exactly what I was about to say. So that's why I was like, "Oh, you go first," and then you just said it all because I think Rahil, you make it a good point when someone's like, "Yeah, not quite." I I think sometimes my response, like when it's like totally the opposite direction, I do say, "Okay, I see where you come from." Like I see how you were thinking about it, but then I guess I was leading towards this direction. So I agree with everything but what you both said because that is something we should be doing with the students.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a good question for the teachers out there. Have you ever thought about why like students are afraid to answer questions, not feeling comfortable? They don't want to lose like confidence, the respect from their peers, or just simply not feel stupid, right? Just that's the bottom line, I think, for students because when students get some things wrong, let's just say, they start saying, I'm stupid, sorry, sorry. They'll make all these comments, and I'm like, no, you're not stupid. Nowhere near, please. Like, I've seen some real, like, I don't know, stupidity, I guess. But, it's definitely not from students. And I don't think like adults should really say a student is stupid or a kid is stupid or just the younger people being stupid. It's just this whole experience and this knowledge that adults might have already, right? That like students are at a learning point. So I really don't think the word stupid should be applied to students at all. Um, because you guys are here to learn, and that's why I think we should emphasize that kind of message to the teachers. Hey, like seriously, take a step back. Don't make the students feel like they're the problem sometimes. Like we're the adults, like you guys said. Right. And but then for the students, just to be fair now, for the adults too, like just do your best and give the adults a chance also as well. I think we need to give each other some chances here, right? Just some trust also, a level of trust so that like we're respecting each other and not like ignoring each other, not really figuring out what the method is for each other also. So like just like how we're doing the podcast right now, you guys are sharing all these feedback, these input about a simple topic about a Zoom call. But I think this would be tremendously be helpful for students and teachers or educators to hear because they don't know how each other feels right now.
I think the bottom line is for teachers for teachers. Okay, so first is for teachers to understand where students are coming from, what their struggles are, if they have any struggles, what their confusions are, and for students to respect their teachers, not goof off during class on online class, not cheat, not like use help in any way, like just like um, what is it called, the the um, the trust, the code, whatever, I'm blanking on the name, but that's for students. I would say just like everyone is struggling right now. Oh, it's called honor code. My bad. And for anyone to like struggle, if like sorry, if like everyone is going through like very hard times right now, so if everyone were to just work together, I think it's gonna be a lot easier for like a lot of people.
Yeah, I definitely agree with what you said. Like you basically said everything that I was gonna say, that, trust is built on like honesty. And I definitely think that, if like teachers are not gonna be honest with their students, or, students aren't gonna be honest with their teachers, the teachers can't help anyone, and the students can't learn from anyone. And so, like, like you said, like, cheating on tests, it's the honor code, and people have to start respecting that. Like, I know for a fact that it happens a lot at school, especially with online like computer tests. But now that we're at home, there's no one to keep an eye on us, there's no one really like peering over our shoulders, so it's more like enticing, I guess. And I definitely think that, once you build that trust with your teacher, you can be like, I don't, like, I promise I am not cheating. And then they can respect you. But if it's not there, there's a reason for them to not trust you, because like they don't really know who you are. They don't know your character. There's a high chance that you can cheat. And I think that's one of the biggest problems that PUSD definitely is going to be facing this year is, making sure that students aren't going to be cheating on tests.
Well, don't worry, guys. Teachers will get creative.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they are definitely thinking of different ways to make all that from happening. From what I've seen from our wonderful teachers out there, not just in Palo Alto, but everywhere in the states, it's been so much fun to collaborate with them, and the way they are becoming tech savvy. Hey, you guys have to give credits to the teachers for them becoming a little bit tech savvy, you know what I mean? Because it is not easy. I'm pretty sure you guys all know finding all these new resources and teaching the students the new resources. And then it's like finding more. So, yeah, I give credits to everyone out there and students for really learning and keeping up with the whole new system that we come up with for you guys, right? So, you guys can give yourself a pat on the back, everybody should, for working hard. And I'm excited. I don't know about you guys, but I'm definitely excited for the new school year, even though the level of energy might not be the same, but we can try to make it the same, honestly. I get so excited when I see students like face to face and they're just like super hyper mode. Yes, not gonna lie, sometimes it drives me crazy too, but I love that hyper like interactive and just like excitement that they have. So
All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining the podcast. Thank you guys for those of you that are listening. Thank you guys so much for listening to what we had to say. Maybe if you have a chance, you can reflect on your thoughts. Please let us know if you have any thoughts. If you want to, up to you. But that will be it for today. This has been SPA Podcast Team, and we'll see you next week. Bye.